Hi everyone, welcome to the LovenStamps studio. My name is Meg and I have a project to share with you featuring a stamp set that I haven't shown before. I have been having a lot of fun with this one, doing some watercoloring with actual water, so don't be too alarmed by that. And we're going to go through doing that watercolor. It's really simple because the stamp does most of the work for us. And then we're going to talk about sort of how we're going to build the card around this particular image because it's a really powerful image, really strong center point, but then we really want to have the whole card go together, not just like one focal point with everything else in the background. So we're going to do some layering and I'm going to talk about how those pieces go together. All right. Let's see. I wore my tropical outfit on Tuesday. So the last episode 587 of Maker Mornings with Meg, you're going to have to pair that outfit with today's card. But today I'm dressed for Halloween, which is later this month. So it has nothing to do with our card. It's just what I felt like putting on because, you know, if you have Halloween wear, you don't get that long to make the most of it. So anyway, whatever. We're going to go ahead and flip. Oh, did you want to see the stamp set? Here is the stamp set. It's called Happy Place, and it is from the new book that debuted last summer. And this giant image right here is really great, but it has a tendency to just sort of sit. And so like I said, we're going to build a card around it so that everything goes together and works towards like a full card instead of just one strong image. So with that, let us go ahead. Hey, Tanya, Lori, Sue, Joan, good to see everybody. It's always fun to see how far we're stretching our gathering each morning when we get together. So, and it's always fun to hear from people who are watching later too. All right, so I wanted to pick some beachy tropical colors for this. These are all from the 2025 to 2027 in colors, which is perfect because it means that we're going to use some of these pearls here, which of course are going to coordinate beautifully with our finished card here. All right, so I'm going to start with Summer Splash card base. So this is just 5.5 inches by 5.5 by 4.25 finished. But the cardstock you're going to cut is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and then we just fold that in half to make our card base. Oh, hi Joey. Hi Lana. Lana or Lana, so either way. And then we are going to kind of set these colors aside and bring in our basic white here. Now, Happy Place, I just realized I have to grab my ink pad. Happy Place is a great image. It has lots and lots of detail in it. And so we want to make sure that we do the most to bring out that detail. So we're going to use watercolor pencils. Stampin' Up! Actually has two assortments of watercolor pencils right now. Either one is a good choice. The watercolor one has these colors kind of here that I'm working with. So I put it in the video description if you're looking for watercolor pencils. But what these basically are is watercolor pigment in a sort of stick form, crayon form. And so you're going to use the pencil to apply that watercolor pigment to your paper. And then you're going to use water to solubilize that pigment and move it around on your paper. Now this is an old aqua painter, I realized. Oh, here. I'll go ahead and use this one. These are the water painters that Stampin' Up! Has now. Either one work fine. These are a really outstanding brush. They're a synthetic tip, and they have on the side here this thing that says push, and that is where you're going to squeeze. And so as you squeeze that, I kind of squeeze it and hold it to get the water flowing. I like to just sort of see how my water is coming through, and like you can see how long it's taking me to kind of hold this here. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, it's not coming through. It just takes some time to kind of squish through there. And the reason for that is that you don't want to have too much water come through all at once. So if your brush is really dry, like mine was when I started, There we go. Okay, now there's lots of water coming through. So if you are using these and you're like, my water's not coming through, just take your time, keep holding it because it will eventually come through. Now, like I started to say and then interrupted myself, the reason that you don't want these to just spew water is you want to have control of this. You don't want to have too much water coming across. And so you don't want it to be too free flowing. Now, sometimes I get, can you see that there's like one bristle kind of off to the side here? Sometimes I get one that I damage when I put it away. So I'll just kind of clip that off sometimes. When you close this up, make sure the bristles are all really tightly together so that you don't have an issue with damaging your water painter. All right, so that being said, if we're using water, this is like the pop quiz of the morning, Thursday morning, pre-Friday pop quiz. Hi, Kelly. What kind of ink do you want to use when you are coloring with water? Here's the answer. It's StazOn, okay? Alcohol ink to color with water because your water is not going to make this ink run, okay? You wouldn't want to use Memento for this because the Memento ink is water-based and will run. Oh, here's my stamp already on a block. All right, so let's go ahead and color. Remember with StazOn, you are saving this. Do not discard protective insert cover. Don't throw that away. It's a very important part of keeping your pad nicely inked, okay? I am going to take this here. I'm going to do a little twist, twist, tap, tap because this is a fabric covered pad. You do not twist with the foam classic pads because you don't want to rip the foam. But with these fabric covered pads, you can twist to make sure you get a good amount of ink on there. I'm going to press and hold. I'm also going to close this up. And you'll notice I leave my pads open all the time. You guys see that. Sometimes you're like, close your ink pads, Meg, you're going to get something messy. Totally true. But this one I always close right away because I want it to stay nicely inked. All right, so here is my StazOn, and you can see how crisp and beautiful that image is, okay? It's alcohol ink, so it dries pretty much right away. And then I'm gonna just take this really quickly, and any extra ink, I'm just going to clean off of here. But pretty much, that's not gonna be a problem. Now, there is a StazOn cleaner. You can use it on your red rubber stamps. I honestly don't worry about it. I don't know. Throw things at me if you want, but I don't worry about it. All right, so we have this beautiful image here, and we are going to go ahead and do some coloring. Let me see here with my new camera plan. Oh, I can zoom in. Okay. I got a message from my friend Kathy yesterday, and she said, your video is so crisp. So I am glad that it is, that we've gotten rid of our pixelation problem. I probably shouldn't say that too loud or it's gonna like renew itself here. All right, so what I'm doing now is using my watercolor pencil to transfer the color onto my cardstock. And I'm not gonna worry too much about how dark it is. I'm gonna try and get the color to the edges, but I'm not gonna fret too much about that. And now I'm going to go with my next color. So I used turquoise at the bottom. I'm going to go with my red here. And my red is going to be the first sort of layer of the sunset. I looked up, I couldn't remember, sunsets with like red at the bottom or red at the top. So I Googled. When in doubt, you know, a picture of a bird or a stamp of a bird or whatever, Google images are your friend to kind of just look up what is this supposed to look like in real life? And then often that's kind of where I go with my images. All right, I'm going to take a really fine band of red, and then I'm going to take my orange, and I'm going to go a little bit more, so a little bit taller. And as I'm working across, the goal with this image, because if it was a sunset and this image was cut out just, you know, like it's supposed to look like it's kind of like cut out of a picture. The letters with the image and so forth. And so I want that horizon line to be even on all my letters. I don't want some of them to be, you know, orange all the way to the top and the rest, you know, orange low or anything like that. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do is, oh, yellow square. Oh, okay, that is totally weird. Thank you, Joan. Let me see what that is. I know what that is. Okay, let's see. There we go. All right. I think it might still be there, but you guys can't actually see it now. Hey, thanks for the heads up. See, this is what happens when you change technology. You like miss little things. All right, so now our yellow square is gone, but we're gonna go ahead and color. It'd be funny if I could use the little yellow square to point out where I'm working. All right, I think you guys can see pretty well though. Yeah, if you guys see stuff like that, I appreciate the heads up. Okay, so yellow, we're gonna finish the top, and I am, even though this is really mostly black over here, I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in just for fun. All right, so now we have our colors added, and I'm gonna use my water painter, and you should be able to feel that there's some water coming out, so I'm gonna just double check that. And I'm gonna start with my turquoise. So at the bottom, I'm just gonna use my water painter to go over that color and smooth it out a little bit. And you'll be able to see it pick up and you'll be able to see it spread. I'm going to keep going on all the letters with my turquoise here. Okay, and this I found was a really good match for their Summer Splash cardstock. So you can see here, if I bring it in, it's a pretty nice color together. All right, now, before I go on to the next color, I'm gonna use this as a little scratch paper here. Do you see where I'm taking off any extra pigment? So right here, it's a little washed out for you guys, I think, but this is the leftover of that turquoise color. So now I have a clean brush and I can go back and do my red layer. Oops, kind of missed that. And pull this color across and even it out a little bit so we don't have our lines showing. Same thing, I'm gonna clean that off there, and now I'm gonna go back with the yellow, orange, and I'm going to move my orange around so that it covers the whole letter from left to right. Now we're gonna go back at the very end and do some blending between our colors, but for now I'm sticking with a single color at a time to make sure all that space is filled in. Clean that off and go back with our yellow. So now this color is going to be blended and filled in. Now, after I get the top part blended, I'm going to think about sort of the intersection between those colors there, between the orange and the yellow. And I'm going to do just a little bit of pulling between those two colors so that I can have some sort of overflow and connection between them. And you can see even, I don't know if you guys can see, I'll tell you in real life, you can see that it does matter to color on that black area there. So now what I'm gonna do is color between sort of the orange and the yellow to just blend those two colors a little bit. Now there's a very, very small amount of water on my blending or water painter here. And the reason that that works really well is because this is basic white paper. Basic white paper is not necessarily designed to be a great watercolor paper because the more water you put on it, the more likelihood there is that the paper is going to pill a little bit. And so you want to use as little water as possible to do this. And that's where a really tight water painter like the ones that we have right now is going to be definitely a tool that works for you. Okay. All right, so being careful to close that up and not damage my tip. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out again. Now, this is kind of a random size paper. When I'm stamping with red rubber stamps, it's sometimes hard to see if I'm getting things straight or exactly where I want them. And so a lot of times I'll stamp on a larger piece and then use my trimmer to trim it down to exactly what I want. So let's get that trimming scoring blade out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and trim the bottom of this first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the bottom of my words to make sure, yay, I'm glad you guys like that, to make sure that my word is lined up with one of the little fluctuations in the ruler so that I know that I have a straight cut where my image is concerned. I think, yeah, that's good there. All right, so now I have a straight on the bottom and I can go ahead and line that straight edge up with one of my ruler lines so that when I cut the top, I know that we have a parallel set of lines here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trim off, not a ton at the end, but trim off some of the end. And I'm gonna trim off a little bit here at the right side too. Okay, so now we have our happy image here. I'm not going to send my paper trimmer too far because we're going to need that again. and we're going to bring back in our cardstock. So we have our background here with our summer splash. And then I wanted to bring in some yellow. So we have Darling Duckling, which is a great match for this. And this is a little bit too big. So my intention for this was to cut it at, let's see, I'll tell you exactly. So this is 3 3/4 inches tall, and so then it's meant to be 5 inches wide. So I'll trim this down. Doesn't really matter here. You'll see why in a second. Because what I wanted to do was match our background to our foreground. I wanted this background to have some images that sort of complement the beachy feel and the happy and so forth, so that this image isn't so lonely. The stamp set is great. It has happy retirement, happy place, happy life, happy days, happy times, happy birthday, happy for you. Hey y'all. So this particular stamp set has lots and lots of great words and a focal point image, but no background images, okay? So what I decided to do was pair it with a folder, the one of my favorites, the Happy Hibiscus Hybrid Embossing Folder. So we have Happy Place, we have Happy Hibiscus. This is on the last chance list, and they just dropped the price on it again. So I would not wait to get this if you don't have it yet. If you do have it yet, then you're all set to be making this card. But it's a hybrid embossing folder, which means it comes with the stamps, or sorry, comes with the folder and the dies. And you can use the dies here, which are outstanding. We're going to use them to make some extra flowers for us, but you can use the dies with the embossing folder here, like this, to make hybrid, you can make embossed die cut flowers. And let me show you, we're not using them, excuse me, for this card, but let me show you some that I've got here. So here is an example of what those embossed flowers die cut look like. So it die cuts and embosses at the same time. And I have a whole series about this from last winter. I did a series of Christmas cards with it. So you can look those up on the LovenStamps blog and video gallery. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos on that video gallery on the LovenStamps website. They're all free. So lots of techniques and so forth for you. I just had somebody ask about how to use these hybrid embossing folders yesterday, and you can go back and you can look at those videos, and they will explain all of the things. So just look for a picture of a card that uses a product or a similar product to what you're wanting to use, and then you'll know you have that video. Okay, so that was the explanation for this. This is why you need it in your collection. But we're going to go ahead and use this as just an embossing folder. So I'm going to throw some cardstock in here, run this through my die cut machine along with another scrap, and through the magic of television, we have a couple pieces of pretty embossed paper. The embossing on this is absolutely gorgeous. And so now we have a background that matches our foreground, okay? Lots more fun and connection between the two. So here's the non-embossed version. It feels a little bit plain and stagnant. Here is the embossed version. It is a party all around, okay? So let's go ahead and attach this, and then we're going to talk about a little bit more connection here. I really appreciate using multi-purpose liquid glue when I have a hybrid embossing folder layer. These folders push the paper both up and down, and so you can get a really deep embossed image on it, which is great. But it also means that regular flat adhesives don't always get into the cracks, and so that is where your multi-purpose liquid glue is going to be outstanding at making sure that you get everything stuck down where you want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and use glue on the back of our Happy too. I know you thought I would use dimensionals there because I'm a dimensional queen, but all right, I'm going to go ahead and put that down. Now, we need to add to this Happy what? I'm going with Happy Birthday for this, although you could pick anything you like. Lots and lots of choices for sure. And so we're going to use our Stays on ink again so that we have the exact same black crisp image. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this upside down. So much easier to ink upside down when you can see what's going on. Closed my ink pad. And then I'm going to stamp here. And same thing, my tiger layer, although I did manage to get that pretty darn straight, I've left my tiger layer large so that I could go ahead and trim this down. So let's get this out of the way. And I'm going to line the bottom, since I'm happy with how straight it is, there, and go ahead and trim this pretty tight here, I think. Okay, so now we have our birthday wish to go along with our happy. And the color here is going to bring out the orange there in our coloring. So that is a great way to add to the color. And we're going to go ahead and use our dimensionals for this layer. When I use a color on a card, I really like to repeat it. So there's no like stray colors just hanging out there on their own. I like them to be reinforced by another color, another bit of the same color on the same project. Okay, so now we have our happy birthday, but we are not done yet, because the other fab thing, well, there's lots of fab things, there's labels and so forth, but the other fab thing in here are these little flowers here, and there are 4 of them. So you get in your single cut, I've cut these from basic white cardstock, we have 4 of our flowers here ready to go. So we're going to do 2 on the front and 2 on the inside. And let's see, I think I have some mini dimensionals. Here they are. I was going to say don't go through these as fast, but they are tiny. So you get a lot more on a sheet than you do of the bigger ones. So I'm going to go here and add a mini to this one and a big one here. And I kind of forgot to do this, but if you want to, you can also curl the petals of your flower. Easier to do before you put the dimensional on. So what I'm doing is I'm using the tip of my fingernail here to go ahead and sort of score the center. I'm just running it along that edge of the, or that center of the paper there. And what it's doing is it's breaking those fibers and making them curl up a little bit. So it's pretty subtle, but here is the difference between the flat one. Can you guys see that? Here's a flat one, and this one has those curls to it, okay? It's just a little bit more dimensional and a little bit more organic looking, which is great for the front of our very sort of fun party organic card here, okay? Oh, thanks, Joan. Joan says she likes my spooky shirt. All right, and we're gonna pop a couple of these down here at the end of our birthday, but we need to add to this. Right at the beginning, I showed you that we have the beauty of coordinating in color flat pearls to go along with these. And so we could do all kinds of colors. Actually, I could do the pink here to repeat that color, but I think I'm gonna keep it a little simple, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the orange ones again here. So I'm gonna pop 2 of these on our front there, like that, okay? All right, so now we have little birthday flowers added to our card. But what about the inside? I don't really want to use the same stamp again, because that would be a lot of repeat, but I want to add a layer inside. And so what I have here is that little strip of scrap that we also embossed, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop it right here on the side of our card as an extra embellishment. So let's go ahead and glue some on the inside. This piece is cut to 5 inches by 3 3/4 also. So I have that same mat around the edge. And then we're gonna go ahead and add some glue here again to our embossed piece, and I'm gonna butt it right up to the edge. If you like that white edge showing, you could leave like a white stripe on the side. But now we have these extra little flowers, and they can go right here. So I'm going to put a dot of glue here and stick one down, and a dot of glue here and stick one down. Now this part is up to you. If you want to live dangerously and go ahead and put pearls on these, certainly you can. If you don't want to, you can just leave them blank. I think they're still pretty cute like this. If you put the pearls on, then when you mail this card, they're going to kind of press up against the inside of the card and damage the card a little bit. It's probably not the end of the world, so you can kind of choose your poison on that. Now, when I mail a card like this, I would want to cover these up so that they don't damage our envelope. And so I would go ahead and just put another piece of cardstock in here and then put this into my envelope. And that is going to kind of reduce how much bubble there is to those. Otherwise, what happens is when you put these through the mail, then the pearls pop through the envelope because of the pressure that the postal system puts on scanning your mail and so forth. So an extra cardstock piece in there will be a good protector for them. So there we have our Happy Birthday Beachy card. So here's one where the strip of cardstock, I use the long version, which is on the bottom. And those are the scraps that you get from cutting this layer. So it's a really efficient way to use up some of those paper scraps and have them be, you know, part of your card. So, all right. Sue said, yep, you could color the flowers in the center, like with your watercolor pencils. That would work. Hi, Jerry. Yeah, very beachy. It is a very beachy card. So, all right. Well, everyone, I think that is covers our card for today. Don't forget that the Stampin' Up! Starter Kit special is going on. Is a really amazing deal. Tonight is our LovenStamps demonstrator team Zoom. So if you are a LovenStamps demonstrator, I hope you can join us tonight. If not, you can catch the replays. That's always a fun chance to stamp together and share some ideas. And I have brand new things that are on the demonstrator pre-order. They'll debut in November, so I'm excited to share some of those things with you. We'll have a stamp together project at the end that you guys will want to post your cards for, etc. If you're not a LovenStamps demonstrator and you've been thinking about joining, this is the best time. Like literally 23 years that I've been demonstrator, this is the best deal. So make sure you check the link in the video description or visit lovenstamps.com and the Join My Team page to learn more about that special. And you can join us tonight too for the LovenStamps community team get together. So that'd be fun to have you join us. So we've had a lot of new demonstrators join us already this month. So excited and welcome to all of you. I think that probably covers us. So happy pre-Friday to everyone. Pre-Friday because today's Thursday, but we don't have a video on Friday. So it's happy pre-Friday, which means looking forward to celebrating the end of the week. Hope you guys have some fun, creative time planned in your weekend this weekend. We have another marching band competition. Yay! Actually, I really do love them. Marching band competition in Naperville. So that will be a good time. Anyway, I hope you guys have some fun things planned too. And I will be back on Tuesday with another episode of Make Room Rise with Meg. So happy stamping, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next week.